the record label came like 6 months later, when I got into my head that I'd love to do a record label in the spirit of, say, like the ones that I loved at the time, so like 5RC and Trouble Man and Slamped and all these really like iconic, like little odd experimental rock pop labels at the time, and we just needed to find the right band. And fortunately at our fourth show we had Juju play, and supporting them was a band on Tiger Beat 6 called Crack We Are Rock, Crack War, and they were exceptional in the style of like Les Georges Leningrad and those sort of like weird electro bands that were taking a skewed take on Devo, but all weird and menacing. And we got talking to Kim from the band, and she was also in this group called Death Sentence Panda, who'd only just formed, and they had a few recordings and passed them to us, and we were like, when's it coming out? Because it's a great record. It's like a strange hardcore band formed around a pitch shifted clarinet and Dixieland drumming, and like really awesome stop start dynamics, and very to my taste. And they were like, well, we've just recorded it, we don't have a label or anything. And I went, boom, right, maybe we can do a label and put this out. And so we started looking into that, and the word on the street at the time was, you got to go to the Czech Republic. GZ's the place, GZ in the Czech Republic, and they'll hook you up with a highly colourful platter at a reasonable cost or whatever, and it will take you 6 years to get it back or whatever. So we did all that. We looked all into it, and then we were like, oh, we're still a bit short of money, and we put any profits from the shows we sort of put into the record label. And then we were lucky enough to do an event with the Evens, which is Ian Mackay and Amy Farina's band, and Ian's famous for, you know, running Discord and being in Fugazi and all of that. And at the end of the show, again, it was another one of these trials of fancy. Like, who knows? Does anyone know? Everyone knows Ian Mackay, but has anyone heard the Evens record? Will they come? And again, it was like such a great turnout that at the end of the night we gave Ian and Amy like this huge like wad of cash, and they literally said, you've been talking to us about doing your record label all day, why don't you take some of this back and put it towards the record? And it doesn't come better than that, really, you know, to get a stamp of approval from one of the high priests of DIY music. So he partly funded our first release through shared profits of that show, and yeah, fairly quickly after that, maybe like 6 months later, the first record came out as a one-sided black and white 10-inch covered with hundreds of pandas on the sleeve. It's still one of my favourite records of all time, but again, probably could have put something on the other side. One of my biggest regrets. Start off with a somewhat fanciful release. Panda vinyl, one-sided 10-inch. Ian, I'm sorry. But we sharpened up after that. We did another 10-inch. But then we got into albums, and our first proper album was by John Mouse, and it was his first record called Songs. And that's when things got a bit more serious, because we'd stopped being like a little label just putting out fanciful records and on a whim, like, oh, this will be fun, or it's a great artifact, which I love imprints that are like artifacts too. I think it's great when a label's like, there's only 20 copies of this and you have to own it, and it's made of charcoal and the vinyl, it's not really vinyl, it's like, I don't know, egg albumen or something. It will deteriorate, it's in a sandpaper sleeve or something like that. But I guess when we got John on board to do an album, we were like, oh my god, we better do a CD version. and talk to journalists and like promote a record, right? Like the same way we promoted a show, and talk to like a DJ or something on the radio. Who knows? But that's where it all started, really, from that released properly, I suppose. And again, it just snowballs. So you just start off with just with one record, and then before we knew it, we had like maybe 10 under the belt, and then you feel like a legitimate label. And now we've done, I don't know, 100. Well, I think we're coming up to 130. But yeah, you just got to keep going, haven't you?
Dear Christopher Tipton, this is Jamie Stewart from the band Shoo Shoo. I wanted to say thank you very, very much for everything that you have done for the band that I play in. I have slept in your bed. We've done a bunch of shows together. You put out our records. You did a dramatic reading of a not very good book of haikus that I put out because you have an extraordinarily melodious voice. Most impressively, you run an independent label with a diverse and interesting roster, and you have consistently put on the best shows in London. Even though I'm not a human, I'm a wombat. I love you. I feel the same way.
For our 15th anniversary of the record label, we came up with this bright idea of just going around the UK with a lot of the bands on the label who are part of the UK roster, and just playing some key spots that might prove pivotal in supporting the underground DIY music scene in the UK. So we're going to Glasgow to the art school, we're going to the Brudenell Social Club in Leeds, Club Etherback in Cardiff, and the White Hotel in Manchester, all between March 27th and 31st. And we're going with lots of bands, including Trash Kit and Sauna Youth, Robert Sotelo, Dog Chocolate, Gutter Snipe, so many acts coming and going and lending their talents. Vital Idols on some of the dates as well. It's going to be a really interesting and fun thing to do, because I'm a big fan of getting around and doing tours and taking what you love to other people and seeing if they're interested in it too. And I think it will be a nice challenge and interesting. Am I using interesting too much? What's a better word than interesting? It'll be highly satisfying. It'll be satisfactory. I don't know, I got like a sort of, I like a peregrination, so it's good to do a bit of a journey around and test the water, see what's going on in these capital cities, and we've got a big one on the 27th in London at the Dome, which is going to be great because we've managed somehow to get, I don't know, 8 bands on the bill of that and counting. So hopefully it'll go off without a hitch and the same people won't hate us forever. So the tour dates, I've got Wednesday the 27th of March in London at the Dome. That's with Sauna Youth, Trash Kit, Vital Idols, Rattle, Gutter Snipe and Dog Chocolate. And then on the 28th of March in Glasgow, it's a similar lineup but with Robert Sotelo there as well in the mix. Leeds at the Brudenell on the 29th of March. That's a Friday night. It's going to go off big. You know what it's like in Leeds on a Friday night. That's with Sauna Youth and Trash Kit and Rattle and Gutter Snipe. Then in Manchester on the White Hotel on the 30th, we've got a lot of the same bands again because that's what it's like on a tour. It's Sauna Youth, Trash Kit, Vital Idols, Gutter Snipe, Robert Sotelo, and that's an interesting venue if you've not been there before, because it's sort of like an old car mechanic's garage, and the band's sort of playing the round in one room, and the audience can like filter through into the second room where you get served drinks from the bar, but it's down in the pit, so you have to like get down on your hands and knees to receive like a warm Beck's. No, it's probably better than a warm Beck's, isn't it? I'd imagine they'd be serving some craft ale from a tin, like a miniature, like a tiny tinny of koala jam or something, whatever it's called nowadays. And yeah, that's a brilliant space. And then we end in Club Ether back, which again, over the since I've been into independent music, one of the foremost venues, so a real joy to do something there on the Sunday night, the 31st of March.
Congratulations to Upset the Rhythm for 15 years, and to Chris in particular for so much dedication and effort. Upset the Rhythm gigs are always very inclusive. You know, you could go on your own, you might talk to people, you might not, but it's always a friendly atmosphere, and you know that the music will be interesting. And because London can be a lonely place with not so much interesting stuff happening as you might expect, so it's a great source of comfort for Upset the Rhythm to do what they do. And obviously the music release side as well is very positive, has a very positive impact on culture. If you look at the people they release, so Trash Kit, Ravioli Me Away, Sauna Youth, all have an actual impact. So keep the faith. Thank you.
Hi Chris, it's Nick, wishing Upset the Rhythm a very happy 15th birthday. You've been putting records of mine that I've been involved with out for 10 of those years since you put out the Kingdom EP by Peoples. It feels as exciting now as it did then, to know that music that you've created in your disgusting bedroom is being given a chance of release. So thank you for that, and very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Upset the Rhythm! Thanks, Chris, for all your help from Rattle.
Yeah, thank you for everything and for being a great label. Here's to many more years of upsetting the rhythm.
Yeah!
So I first became aware of Upset the Rhythm when, probably not long after it, well, a few years after they started putting on shows, and me and Rachel, the other Rachel in Trash Kit, we would go to Upset the Rhythm shows, and we sort of really looked up to all the bands that played, and we really loved everything that Upset the Rhythm did, and we thought it was the coolest label ever. So it was really amazing when Chris asked us to play the first Yes Way. I can't remember when that was, 2010 maybe, which was just after we started. And then soon after that he asked us if we wanted to do an album, and that was a real big deal for us because we never thought that. We'd been playing music at that point for a while, but we just had never taken it seriously, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but it was amazing. So it was amazing that someone and also who's been supported by a lot of amazing people, and a lot of people were sort of giving up their time to help him with shows and stuff, but like Upset the Rhythm, like supporting us and sort of believing in our creativity was really amazing. And now we've just finished doing our last album, our most recent one, and it's just Chris and Upset the Rhythm has just supported us, and I don't know if we'd still be, I guess we still would be making music, but it's really great to have someone that's not inside the band that is there to support you, and you know, I mean, it's good to have belief in yourself, but just having that other person there to just kind of like push you forward, and knowing that they see some sort of potential in you, it's really powerful.
Fica agarrada ao que eu possa sentir. É raiva, nojo e como escolho, grita responder. Porque eu cansei-me tudo, eu deito, eu deito, eu deito, eu deito, eu deito, eu deito. Passam 2 meses e vês, habitei.
Upset the Rhythm has been totally life-changing for me and Cheshire as a band. I can still remember going to see the first Upset the Rhythm show that me and Rachel went to together, and it totally blew my mind. It was white magic, so it was pretty weird music to begin with, just piano and bass and drums, and beautiful singing. And I feel like ever since that show, I really saw Upset the Rhythm as a label and a gig booking entity, as something that always put on shows and release records that would surprise me and kind of blow my mind. And I think it was always something to really aspire to. When Chris put us on, we would really try and up our game in some way each time we played, and I always wanted to recreate that feeling of endless possibilities that there would be when you go to an Upset the Rhythm show. You never knew what you were going to get, you never knew what the artists were going to pull out of the bag, and you always came out of the show changed and feeling inspired about the world and about music. Upset the Rhythm have always put out our records, and it's we haven't put out tons of them, but it's always been a really encouraging and helpful thing to know that they are there for us and they believe in us. No matter what we decide to do, there's a kind of feeling that we always email them saying, would you be interested in doing another record? And Chris replies, of course. And that's a really nice feeling, knowing that somebody has that kind of consistent belief in you when you don't always. And I think that's been really supportive for us over the years. And also when we first started, it was crucial to us actually believing in ourselves as a band and thinking, oh, we could put out a record. That wasn't even something that we had considered. So I think Upset the Rhythm is doing its job in terms of a record label, in that it not only encourages bands to keep going, it encourages bands to get going in the first place. So yeah, thanks, Chris.
Like, if your sweat was a band on Upset the Rhythm, which band would it be?
This was gentle friendly.
Rob?
Complex but polite. Wholesome. Sorry.
I'm ravioli near Wade.
Oh! Yeah, that's a good one.
Pheromones. Way through. Just think, like, what a 15-year-old kid would look like.
They'd look like a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, they'd be like having...
They're like me, probably.
But more acne. Acne and a BO problem. That's the sort of stage that Upset the Rhythm's in now. Mm. Just finding out who it is. Just trying to move out of home. but not quite yet. Just kissing people for the first time. Maybe taking drugs.
Steady on.
Don't play football no more.
Thanks, Upset the Rhythm.
Happy 15th anniversary.
You made our lives louder.
And our ears deafer.
That's true. Yeah. I do have constant ringing in this ear, and that's your fault. We're good at making videos.